Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. So if you're new here, my name is Julianne. I am a Canadian. I'm living in Germany, and today I'm going to talk about all things about my Ausbildung, and this is going to be a very casual conversation. I'm talking to my friends right now. So get a drink. If you really want, maybe get like a pen and paper or something if this is like super relevant to you. But yeah, let's get into it. Let me grab my coffee. Okay, so where do we start? First things first, important information is that I have not started my Ausbildung yet. It is starting next April in 2022. And I'm doing physiotherapy. So here's the thing. Most Ausbildungs, I would say, are more similar. Physiotherapy is kind of like an outsider to them because it is a little bit different. A lot of the schools are private instead of public. My school is like half private, half public. So some of the information that I'm going to be sharing with you guys today is probably not going to be applicable to all Ausbildungs, but in terms of like preparation for interviews and the Bewerbung, the application, like that's all kind of similar. Like there's some basic things that you're going to need no matter where you apply. So in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys why I chose physiotherapy in Germany and why not a different, more like medical-based Ausbildung, what benefits I saw with physiotherapy in Germany, and also I'm going to talk about my application process as well as my interview. So without further ado, let's get into it. So to understand why I chose physiotherapy as an Ausbildung in Germany, we kind of need to go back a little bit. When I was still living in Canada, I really wanted to be a nurse. And I wanted to be a registered nurse specifically. That's the one where you go, it's like a degree. And I wanted to do that because it's like the most sought after job in Alberta right now because it pays really well. And yeah, it's just seen as a really good, reliable job. But here's the thing, I couldn't get into it because it was so competitive, because it was such a sought after job. Everybody wanted to go to school to be a registered nurse. And so year after year, it was getting more and more difficult to get into it. So then the year that I tried to get in, I actually applied 2 years in a row. And both of those years, you needed a high school average of like 95 or more. And like, I did not do that well in high school. I didn't do terrible, but I didn't do 95. That's kind of insane. So then when I came to Germany, I was also looking at nursing, of course, because I thought, well, I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be similar in Canada as it is in Germany. I know Germany has a really good healthcare system, so I was just kind of assuming that nursing would be kind of similar. It's not, I will say that. It is not the same. When I first came to Germany and I said that I was interested in this, who was it? Like, what position is that? I guess like a career counselor. We went to a career counselor to talk about my options. And she highly suggested that I do nursing because in Germany there's specific programs where you can learn nursing and German at the same time. And that's because they get so many foreign workers to come to Germany and they'll be nurses, and so they have these big programs where you can learn German and learn nursing at the same time. I think the comparison in Canada to that would be like a healthcare aid. I know at healthcare aids there's a lot of foreign workers that do that, and they're really like pushed into those positions when they come to Canada. So I was feeling like it was kind of similar to that. So I got a thumbs up from this career counselor, but from like other people that I knew personally, they were telling me like, this is probably not the best job and you might not like it because it is very hard work. You receive like very little pay for the work that you do, and there's nowhere that you can go with your career. You're just kind of stuck at the same level. And that is a repeated theme in my search for a career. So I decided I'm not going to do nursing anymore. But I still had some time. I still had to learn German before I even consider a different Ausbildung. So I just went back to the books. I studied German for a year. Fast forward, it's right at the beginning of the pandemic. The pandemic hasn't actually hit Germany yet, but it's coming. We know it's coming. I've been learning German. I have been kind of thinking about what I want to do, but it's been on the back burner. I haven't really been thinking about it. And then I had this crazy experience at the hospital. I had to go to the hospital and get this ovarian cyst removed because it was like so incredibly painful. And I had such a good experience at the hospital. Like, all of the doctors, I loved them so much. And so then I was like, oh, I really want to work in a hospital. And I thought about being, an operations technical assistant, an OTA, Operationstechnischer Assistent. That's the kind of person who kind of helps during the operation. And I was really fixated on this. I thought, wow, I really enjoy the hospital atmosphere. I'm gonna give this a go. I saw that it paid really well during the Ausbildung. Like, it paid 1,000 euros a month during your study. And I thought that was awesome. I thought, wow, if me and my husband had an extra 1,000 euros a month, that would like help us so much financially. So I will admit that the finances were also part of me wanting to be an OTA in Germany. But then looking more into it, I saw that after the Ausbildung, when you're actually working, your pay doesn't increase that much. And same as nursing, you're kind of just stuck at the same level and the same pay grade. Like, there's no chance for you to move forward or move into different positions or anything. So I let that go. And then last spring, I got recommended by somebody, why don't you be a physiotherapist? And I thought, can you even do that in Germany? Because in Canada, to be a physiotherapist, it's like so difficult. I think there's only like a few schools in Alberta where you can actually be a physiotherapist. Like, if I was a physiotherapist in Alberta, I would have to go to Edmonton, which is like 7 hours away from my family. And I'd never considered it because I knew it was too far-fetched and it was too difficult to get into, like more difficult than nursing. So I always just kind of threw the idea away. But then I realized in Germany, it's like a common Ausbildung that you can do. And I thought, wow, that's amazing. And after looking into it more, I saw that there are so many different routes that you can take with it. And I was genuinely fascinated with all the different things that you learn in physiotherapy. And one thing that stood out that was different from OTA or from nursing is that your starting pay isn't as much, but there's like so much room to grow in that career. There's so many different options, and there's so much that you can do with it. So then I just thought, heck, I would like to do that. So yeah, I decided to do physiotherapy because I'm genuinely so interested in it, and also I would like to be able to take care of my body. I'm just so curious about learning about different things for my body. I think my interests in physiotherapy have gone up so much in the last year because even when I was in Canada going hiking and stuff, I was having some crazy knee issues, and I just want to learn more about it and like what that is, if that makes sense. Like, I just want to know what's wrong with my body and how to fix it. So yeah, that's why I'm doing physiotherapy. Okay, so section 2 of this video is my application. So here are some things that you need for pretty much any application that you do for an Ausbildung. Alright, so I will leave in the description a link to Ausbildung.de. They have so much information about vocational training in Germany for non-EU citizens, and they say what you need, how to do it, and everything. So you need your school leaving certificates, which is like in Canada it would be your diploma, or in Germany it's your A-levels, whatever document you have to say that you finished whatever level of school that you finished. You need to get that translated and certified. And then for the actual application form, for my school, they required a Bewerbungsfoto, which is an application photo, so you have to go and get like a passport photo done at DM or something. And also, if German is not your first language, you will need to prove that you have an adequate language level in German. So I think typically most apprenticeships require B1. So you will have to take a B1 exam, get your certificate back, and then send the school a copy. I think that's pretty typical. And so for my application, that's pretty much what I had to do, and then just the rest of the application form, fill out like a normal form. You know, they're asking for your basic information pretty much. Other than that, there's also a medical like checkup that needed to get done, and my doctor had to sign a form that says I am like healthy enough to actually do the job. So I had to make an appointment with my doctor. I had to bring this document for them to sign. They gave me like a basic checkup to see that I'm, you know, able to work, and then they signed it, and I also had to send that in. And that's pretty much all of the things that I had to send in with my application to the school. But it totally depends on what you're studying, or rather what you're training for, like what Ausbildung you're making and where you're doing it. But those are the basic things that they might ask for. Some of them they definitely will ask for, others maybe not. So you will need, first off, a translated and certified version of your school certificates. You will need a B1 German certificate. In some instances, you will need a medical exam from your doctor, potentially an application photo, and of course your resume. And I think these are the big ticket items. These are the big important things that you will need when applying for an Ausbildung. Okay, so next we have my interview, and let me tell you, this was freaking stressful for me. I was freaking out for weeks because of this, because I knew that it was going to be in German, and I was so afraid. Early last summer, I sent out my application, and I was expecting a reply in about like a month or something. I got a reply the next week. They were asking if I would be available for an interview the following week. So I had a week to prepare for my interview, and I was so nervous. And here's the important thing to take away from this, is that make your interviewer aware that German is your second language, and they're not gonna be like harsh, critiquing, criticizing, or testing you on your German. They're not gonna make you feel uncomfortable to see where your German level is. I was so grateful for my interview because the man interviewing me, he knew that German was my second language, and he was frequently asking, are you understanding? Is this okay? Do you understand? And I made it through okay. I was understanding everything. And if you don't understand something, then there's no shame in that. You should tell them in case it's something important that you need to know. So, you know, in an interview, it's probably not the best situation to just say, and not understand anything. And I think they are going to assess the level of German that you're at just based on how you're naturally speaking and how well your understanding is, but they're not gonna be like drilling you with difficult questions to to test you under pressure or anything. One thing for my interview that was not what I was expecting and maybe a little bit different from how your interview might be is that I was really preparing myself before on common interview questions, how to respond to them, and I didn't get so many questions. It was more just a conversation about why I liked physiotherapy, why I wanted to do it, and pretty much my options for studying it. I wasn't asked about my strengths and my weaknesses. I wasn't tested on my knowledge of this company and what I knew about their leadership. I didn't get questions on any of that kind of thing. It was more a conversation about realistically for me and my level of German, what would be a good idea and when realistically could I start my program. And unfortunately, that's something that I really don't know what is like for different interviews out there. I don't know what it is for different people applying to different apprenticeships. I know for like my husband, when he was applying for school, it was like a huge process and there were like multiple interviews, but he was doing something totally different from what I'm doing. So I think it depends so much on what you're applying to. So in my interview, what we discussed and what we decided is the starting time of my apprenticeship. So for the school, I knew that they had a fall and a spring start time, and what I learned is that in this specific physiotherapy school, their fall start time is typically younger students with more students, and it's like a faster paced learning. And so they were really encouraging me to start in the springtime because number one, it would give me more time to practice my German, and number two, they said that the class sizes are smaller and it's sometimes more mature students. I don't really consider myself a mature student, like based out of Canada, but if you're in Germany, you can be in classes with like 17-year-olds, and then I think then I might be a mature student. I'm 24, so is that considered a mature student in Germany? And so that was my interview. I was shaking with nerves before going into the room, and I came out and I was relieved and I was so happy because, yeah, it was very casual. My interview said that within a week I should get my contract, and if I want to go to the school, then I'll just sign it and send it back. And that was it. In the days following, I think I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get into the fall start time. And I think that's just because I'm 24 and I just want to start. But realistically, and looking back at it, I'm very, very, very happy that I'm starting in the springtime. It gives me so much more time to prepare. And that brings us to the end of this video and the beginning of next week's video. So next Saturday, I'm going to be talking about what I'm doing to prepare for my Ausbildung, the resources that I've picked up. I've got some new books coming this week and I'm really excited to like start learning from them. So I'm going to be sharing those with you guys. Be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on that video coming out next Saturday. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And that's all I have for you guys today. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!